Okay, I'd like to talk today about the coordinate definitions for the 6 trig functions. That is, I'd like to define the 6 trig functions instead of the sides opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse, but rather in terms of the x, y coordinates on a grid and the radius. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'll first draw a circle on a coordinate system. So here's x and y, and I'll draw an angle in the first quadrant. I'll label this angle theta. If I do that, then I can draw a right triangle in here where this side is x, this side is y, and that would be r. Now, I'm going to write down then the 6 trig definitions in terms of the angle theta. And as I said, instead of thinking of opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse, I am now going to label them in terms of x, y, and r. Okay? Note as well that this point here is the point x, y. Okay, so that makes then sine theta to be the side opposite over the hypotenuse as the y coordinate over r. And the cosine of theta would be the side adjacent over r, or the x coordinate over r. Tan theta. Tan theta would be the y coordinate, or the opposite side, over the adjacent side, the x coordinate. Okay, and then you of course have the reciprocals of these 3 trig functions. So let's match up those. Let's see, the one that goes with sine theta is cosecant theta. So that would be the reciprocal of sine. That's r over y. We have secant theta, which is the reciprocal of cosine, so that would be r over x. And we have cotangent of theta, which is the reciprocal of tangent, x coordinate over y coordinate. And of course these are referring to the y coordinates and x coordinates. Okay, now let's keep this in mind through our whole discussion. And what we'd like to do next then is to see what happens if r is 1. That is, suppose we draw our angle theta instead of on an arbitrary circle, but we draw it on a unit circle, a circle with a radius of 1. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so let's draw this circle again now. It looks a lot like the last one I just drew, but this one is a circle of radius 1. Okay, i.e. this is the unit circle. Okay, therefore, when I look at those definitions that I had on the previous page, every place where I had r, the radius, I can replace all those r's now with 1. So what does that mean to us? Well, we can write sine theta, that was the y coordinate over r. Since r is 1, we can write that as y over 1, or just simply y. We can do the same thing with cosine of theta. Cosine of theta is the x coordinate over r, or just simply x over 1. Again, only on a unit circle because the radius is 1, we can write that as x. Now, the changes with tangent, that doesn't really do anything because tangent of theta, of course, is only defined in terms of x and y, so we don't get any bonus out of being on a unit circle. So if we look back up here, what does that mean then for us in terms of this point? This point here is the x and the y coordinate, but as we've just shown down here, sine theta is y and cosine theta is x. So what we've shown then is on a unit circle, whatever's in this first position right here, the x coordinate, that's going to be cosine of theta. Okay, and the y position, that's sine theta. Okay, so if I know what my angle is, and I know what my two x and y coordinates are, I can find then directly the 6 trig functions from those coordinates. Okay, we'll go back and look at this some more.